welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to see you all again. Today is an exciting day because I finally get to share with you my eyebrow journey. Today we're gonna go over the initial process of how I got my microbladed brows done and the touch-ups that were involved in this process, as well as the retention and then how I ended up liking it, and all the way down to today, which is the removal process of my microbladed brows and why I decided to remove them. For reference, there are chapters linked down in the description below, so that way you guys can come back and watch my videos again and use my pictures and experience to be able to better help your eyebrow experience. So as of right now, we are on day 4 of my brows currently healing from the removal process. I went through a procedure called saline tattoo removal, and that's basically where the person who is doing the removal would actually inject natural saline in your eyebrows in the areas that were tattooed. Through the healing process, what's going to happen is that the natural saline is going to basically use reverse osmosis and take the pigment out of your skin, and once the scab falls off, so does the pigment. From afar, my brows look like they're kind of normal. It looks like I got them retouched, but up close, you can definitely see that it is in the healing process and it is scabbing. In order to explain why I got this removal done, we are going to basically go over the initial procedures and the touch-ups, just so you guys can have a bigger picture and a bigger understanding of what happened for me to make this choice. So we're gonna backtrack to May of 2018, and this is the time period where I'm basically looking for a brow artist to do excuse me, my brows. And essentially what's happening is that I'm going towards like Instagram and Yelp reviews and just doing all kinds of research on microbladed brows and to find the right brow artist to do my brows. And what I was looking for in a person who was experienced with microbladed brows was a person that showed their clients brows before the procedure, showed their clients brows right after the procedure, and most importantly, showed their clients brows right after it is healed. This is really important for those of you who are in the market to getting brows, because if you go in and you don't know anything about your brow artist, or if you're not comfortable with talking to them and really understanding or vocalizing what you want, your brows might come out awful. I chose to go with microbladed brows instead of ombre brows because of the fact that microbladed brows provided me with a more natural look, and at the time that's what I really wanted. I wanted something to would look like my actual eyebrows without having to look like I actually did anything to them. The procedure itself, time-wise, didn't really take me that long. The only one that was long was the initial procedure before the first touch-up. That took about like 2.5, maybe 3 hours. Overall, the procedure was pretty smooth. I basically sat down with the brow artist to have a consultation on my brows. She mapped out the shape of my brows to see what kind of angle and like what kind of details I liked with my brows. And she basically numbed me and we basically got into the procedure and it was done. After the procedure done, the healing process wasn't all that bad either. My pain tolerance is like pretty average, so the healing time, like there wasn't really any like pain associated with it. There was a little bit of itching. To give you guys a better visualization of what my brows look like after the initial procedure but before my first touch-up, here is a couple photos of what they look like, and then the second photo is what my brows look like after it was completely healed. For those of you who are doing this procedure or thinking about doing this procedure, your brows are going to look darker before it becomes lighter, and the reason for that is because you have to go through a scabbing phase where your skin is going to basically try to take in the pigment while it's healing from the damage that it was placed when you were doing the procedure. And then the final look is going to be done once the first initial touch-up is finished and that phase of healing is finished. The whole goal of a touch-up is to basically fix the color of the brows, the shape of the brows, whether it means to add a couple of strokes or maybe even go over some strokes because they basically shortened or didn't take at the first initial session. Anyways, after getting my initial procedure done and finally going through with the initial touch-up, I would probably give my brows at that time period an 8 to 9 out of 10. And the reason for that is because I actually feel like my brows were a little bit darker than what I initially wanted, and I'll show you guys kind of like a picture that I was going for in terms of color. I really kind of wanted it to be at least a light dark brown. It wasn't too big of a deal, but I would have liked it if it was like about maybe 1 to 2 shades lighter, just because I feel like a warmer tone that has a little bit of brown but not too brown will complement my skin tone better and also complement the shape of my face better. The second reason why I docked up a point is because I'll show you guys a kind of close-up look of my brow in this particular area. She did actually go a little bit lower than my actual brow bone, so it kind of hits more of the soft tissue right underneath. And I didn't like that because one, it made my brows look a little bit more thick towards the front area. And I know that brows are sisters, they're not twins, but I can definitely notice it when I take pictures of myself. I kind of nitpick at those areas because of the fact that I can see that little difference. My brows, whatever you kind of do to them, you can essentially totally see it no matter what you try to do or how you try to hide it. And the third thing that I didn't really like, although it looks nice, is that the front area had a lot more hair strokes, and I didn't like how prominent it made the front of my face look. I didn't realize going into the microblading procedure that the front of my brows would turn out the way that they did until after the procedure was done, because I did look at her photos and some clients had only a couple strokes in the front, which is typically what I wanted, but I don't think I voiced it well enough for her to actually see that that's what I wanted. Okay, so now I have brows, right? I didn't have really any issues with them until it came to the next few touch-ups. And I didn't know this going in, but people start to find out like the pros and cons about microbladed brows, and I was also a person that was experiencing them. After July 2018, I went back for 2 other touch-ups, which basically totals my touch-up to about 3 touch-ups. After the 3rd touch-up, I stopped messing with my eyebrows because I felt like something was just not going right, because every time that I got a new touch-up, it would look great for a little while and then it would turn back to not looking as crisp and clear as it did the first time around. With microbladed brows, instead of an actual needle, like a tattoo needle that goes onto your eyebrows, you are actually going to see the person use like a small, very minuscule blade to cut individual hair strokes into your eyebrows. I've come to learn that what ends up happening is that the strokes itself, over time, they'll start to kind of blur out, and I'll show you guys a couple photos of what that kind of looks like. In the picture, you can definitely see the hairs, my actual eyebrow hairs, and then you can kind of see the tattoo. The tattoo itself doesn't really have the strokes anymore, especially towards the body and the tail of my eyebrows, but that's basically essentially what I mean by like the strokes aren't the same as when you first initially get the procedure done. Now the question comes to why I ended up removing the brows. So as mentioned before, I didn't really like the color of the brows. I felt like, again, it was a little bit too dark for my face. I wish it was a little bit lighter. The overall shape of it was like, it was good, but at some points when it was healing, and then once it was finished healing, I would get like little dips here and there on my brows that I could see that would change the shape of my face, or at least change the shape of, again, obviously the brows, which I didn't like. And just the upkeep and the maintenance just wasn't worth it for me, because at the end of the day, if the strokes are going to be redone to only be blurred out a little bit later on, I would rather have ombre brows, which would give me the lightness or like fading that I like in the front, and a nice little body in the back, and a nice little tail that extends a little bit further than my natural brow, than to do the whole process all over again. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys have found it useful and informational. If you guys do need to go back and reference certain areas, again, I do have little chapters linked down in the description for your use. And if those of you are new, please like, comment, and subscribe, and check out my other videos for more beauty related content. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!